It's time to fall back. It's the end of the world as we know it because Michael Stipe and Mike Mills are on the beat and we are feeling fine. They are, of course, the Grammy-winning founding members of the band REM. These rock and roll Hall of Famers have sold over 85 million records worldwide. They're cited by many musicians as trailblazers for independent music. Now REM is celebrating the 25th anniversary of their enigmatic album Monster with a remastered version of the album as part of a forthcoming box set. And who do you call on when graced by rock royalty? Foreign policy expert David Rothkopf, of course. Yes, of course. The Carnegie Scholar and former Clinton official has edited Foreign Policy magazine, written for a host of publications, and is the author of National Insecurity, American Leadership in an Age of Fear. What an honor to have all of you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
David, you're the repeat customer here, so I'm going to start with you. What's on your fallback list?
Well, I think maybe we could start with having PG&E and the government of California fall back, because you think California is the fifth largest economy in the world, and maybe they could learn how to generate electricity for everybody and do so without burning the state down.
You would think.
And, you know, if you're going to have fires that destroy communities every couple of months, maybe the state could do more about it, because this is starting to be a regular thing.
Yeah.
And it seems in a civilized, rich country, we shouldn't have cities burning down all the time.
Michael, what or who on your list needs to fall back?
I feel like I'm standing on top of a bunch of teetering boxes when I say media in general.
Sure.
But specifically social media. I read the Jaron Lanier book, 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Now. And it confirmed for me how destructive social media has become. And I would like to see that fall back.
That's a great
Particularly
one.
Facebook. It's a good week for that.
Yeah.
Particularly Twitter. I feel like we would be living in a very different universe today had Jack Dorsey at Twitter told Donald J. Trump 2.5 years ago that what you're putting on our platform is hate speech and you're off. I wonder where we would be now.
In a better place.
I think we need to really focus on the people who have allowed him to have this platform and have allowed him to stay in office and be able to bark out the kind of crap that he barks out on a daily basis. And you guys cover, and we all talk about and ramble and yammer on about. But
well,
I'm
also sensing some.
There's no aggression there.
No, I'm sensing some traditional media criticism in addition to social media. So you're here. Let's have it.
Well, it's embarrassing what's happened to the New York Times, a paper that I grew up with and that I love deeply. And it's kind of interesting what's happened to the Washington Post, a paper that is owned by someone who I do not like. But there's a lot of great people. There's a lot of great people working at the New York Times. I just don't think that they have the platform that they might have had under a different leadership.
And you're talking also. You're saying you're worried or concerned about the sort of the level of corporate control of the papers and industry.
And all
this.
I think it could be addressed in a much different way.
Mike, what else is on your mind?
Well, you sort of leapt on mine a little bit. I think science denial has to fall back because science teaches us everything we know. And if you continue to deny science, you're going to go backwards and people are going to die. And it's literally killing people to continue to pretend that science does not trump just about everything else. And I think it's just crazy that people are getting away with, as you say, firing scientists or defunding government research organizations. It's a crime, and people are suffering for it.
I'd be interested in your reactions. One of the things that strikes me is that we have the problems with Trump, we have the problems with denying science, we have the problems with rampant corruption. We've got a lot of problems right now. What we don't have is a lot of arts activism. I don't see the protest songs. I don't see the parody movies. I don't see a lot of the criticism that you would think would be happening right now, because this is an outrageous time.
I just put out a protest song, my first solo single ever. You can go to it at michaelstipe.com and download it. And
I didn't know that.
That's okay.
I didn't.
Thank you for the lead up. Thank you for the lead up, David. I appreciate it. But all the proceeds from the first year, every single penny of profit goes to Extinction Rebellion, a group that I'm very proud to be a member of.
And I think that's wonderful, though I think David's speaking to the point, and we don't want to just do the generational thing, but it does seem sometimes like when you want the big advancement of equality, social civil rights movements. There was more of that, it felt like,
Definitely.
earlier than now with today's musicians.
There's an odd, it's just everyone seems interested in building their brand. And I don't know if that's just the greed that seems to have filtered all through society and culture in general. But it's a real shame that more people aren't speaking out. I guess they're just afraid because things like Twitter armies will come after them or social media will tear them down if they start to take a stand in a controversial position. But I think that's exactly what artists should do.
We didn't know what would happen when we brought you guys together, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's given us a lot to think about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having us on.
Appreciate it.
David, Mike.
All right.
Thanks, Harry.
Michael. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.